What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to one more of these raw videos where I simply just sit down without any notes, without any scripts. Basically, I just come out here and I just talk from the heart. I understand that a lot of people like these raw videos, and me included. Actually, I've been watching a bunch of these raw videos recently, and they're really good in my opinion. So I think you can learn a lot from just hearing a person talk, especially if it's a person that has done something that you want. That's basically the people who I listen to. And maybe I'm in a position that some of you want to be in one day, and hopefully are going to be in one day. But essentially, what I want to talk about in this video is what made me able to finally make money. I think pretty broad statement, but I think a lot of people will tell you what made them go from unprofitable to profitable. And then they'll force some wrong idea down your throat because they're trying to sell you whatever it is that they're selling. Now, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I do have a private community. I don't need people to join, first of all. And I don't expect people to join. I don't push it down anyone's throat. It's simply there for people who want to join. I was a full-time trader long before I ever, had anything that was paid. So just to get that out of the way. But basically, I think a lot of people have the wrong ideas about what it feels like to become profitable. I think a lot of people think you just wake up and then it clicks in a way. That's what I thought before I was profitable. But the thing is, you just don't really, there's no such thing as something that clicks, essentially, right? That's not what happens. So it's not like, wow, this is the missing piece, right? At least from a technical point of view, there might be some missing pieces from a mental point of view or a risk management point of view, but I guarantee you there's no missing piece from a technical point of view. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is focusing on the wrong things. I had a conversation today with one of my members, and he was asking sort of the question that I'm answering now, like what was it that clicked for you that finally made it all work, right? And that's when I realized, I don't know anything more in terms of technicals now than I did when I didn't make any money. So I sat there and thought about it. I was like, I don't know anything now that I didn't know then in terms of technicals. And so that's just the easiest way for me to tell you that stop looking for these technical golden patterns because they don't exist, okay? I guarantee you for 99% of you, you're not lacking anything from a technical point of view, okay? Technicals are important because you have to have an edge over the market, but it doesn't take that long for you to get an edge. The problem is people will jump to another strategy before they ever get an edge. It takes time, okay? You have to sort of look at a strategy like something you have to be loyal to in a way, right? You have to stick with it through thick and thin, and you will lose with it, right? You will lose a bunch. You will also win a bunch, but you have to stick with it through thick and thin in order for that strategy to become an edge over the market, right? And once you have that, you don't need anything more technically. And it's not very hard to get a strategy that has an edge over the market, right? It's very easy to get caught up in all these fancy setups because you see them on Twitter, you see them on TikTok, especially after ICT's teachings. A lot of these newer ICT traders try to make everything more complicated, and it's very, very obvious to me why they're doing that. They're doing it because if it's very complicated and no one can explain it really except them, you are going to buy whatever it is that they're selling because they're the only one who can explain it. But it's just repackaged product that has already been publicly published by ICT or someone else, right? And so it does not have to be fancy. It does not have to be complicated. In fact, if it is fancy and if it is complicated, you're probably doing it wrong. Because what you want to do, or the main goal for you, should be find an edge and then simplify that edge as much as humanly possible so that it is easily repeatable for you. Okay? Now, it's not very hard to simplify things. You can trade a simple breaker block or mitigation block or whatever it might be, which is basically just a support or resistance level that gets broken, and then you use that in the opposite direction. That's essentially what a breaker block is. And you can be very, very profitable just using that if you use it long enough, because what happens is you start to pick up these certain things that you see happen over and over and over and over again. That's why I can't tell you that whatever I'm trading is going to work for you, because whatever I'm trading, I have traded for a very long time. And I know certain things about that certain setup that I didn't know when I first started trading it, but I now know because I stuck with it through thick and thin, right? So that's sort of the point you want to get at. But again, it wasn't really anything super technical that made me say, wow, was this it? There was none of that, right? I always tell my members that you have to stop thinking that there is some technical or some crazy thing out there that's going to switch you from profitable or non-profitable to profitable. You simply have to go through it to get through it, is what I want to say, or yeah, I guess want to put out there. You simply have to go through it to get through it, which means you're not going to be profitable in your first 5 months. You're not going to be profitable in your first year. You're likely not going to be profitable in your first 2 years, because you have to go through it to get through it, right? Now, certain things can speed that up, right? Getting a mentor is something that can speed that up, right? Being around the right-minded people, right? Talking to the right people. All this stuff can certainly speed up the process, but you still have to get through it to get through it, or go through it to get through it. And so it's these little small tweaks in your risk management and in your psychology that is ultimately going to make you money in the end. Okay. It's not technicals. It's not all this fancy stuff. It's small tweaks in your risk management and in your psychology and consistency. Risk management should be your number one priority. And I'll tell you why. A lot of people have probably heard this before. Prioritize risk management this, risk management that. But they don't understand that the only thing that they realistically have control over as a trader is their risk, and that they're not putting it as their top priority. How are you going to prioritize something that you don't have control over, which is technicals? You don't have control over each trade. You don't know whether the market is going to go up or down. So you have no control over the market. The only thing you have control over is your risk management, yet you are not making it a top priority. And that is something that a lot of people need and must focus on, risk management. Now, it's not just, oh, I'm going to risk 0.2%. That's it. No, it's all this other stuff, like what market conditions am I good at? Like, what market conditions do I perform at my best at? For example, today we had a very one-sided market, right? I decided not to trade because I know when to have risk on and risk off. Today was a day where I know historically, if I look at my data, it's very easy to see that today's market conditions is not something that I'm performing very well under. So I'd rather just step away, look again tomorrow, see if the conditions are better. If they aren't, I'll step away again, because I know how to manage my risk. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm bad at. And I know that because I journal all my trades, and I'm able to go through my data and I'm able to see what conditions am I performing good in, what conditions am I performing bad in. And then I'm able to adjust my risk based off of those terms or conditions, right? Because you're going to have things that you're good at. You're going to have things that you're bad at. Now, the things that you're bad at, if you recognize that, okay, the market is not on my side this week, this is something that I normally perform very bad under, either you're going to step away for that week or you're going to lower your risk significantly. So it's these things that took me from unprofitable to profitable, because it's these things that takes a very long time. That's why people come to me and they say, oh, yeah, but you're not right, because I became profitable after 8 months of trading. And I'm like, dude, you haven't even been trading long enough to be able to see whether you're profitable. You need, you haven't even been trading long enough to be able to tell whether you're profitable or not. Because you can't show me 1 year of consistent results when you've been trading for 8 months. There's no way, right? In my opinion, you need at least 1 year of consistent returns in order to call yourself a profitable trader. Getting a funded account is not being profitable. Getting this and that is not being profitable. Getting consistent results on a month-to-month or a year-to-year basis is how you determine whether you're profitable or not. And if you've done this for a year, you simply can't call yourself profitable or not profitable, because you don't know how your edge plays out in certain market conditions, or how your mind works in certain market conditions, because you haven't been trading long enough to experience those market conditions. So for example, in the summer months, they are historically known to be worse price action, right? And if you started last winter and this is the first summer you're trading, right? You have no idea whether you're doing good here or not. Maybe this is your first election year too. There's all these different things that you don't know how you perform under, and therefore can't really call yourself profitable, right? Market conditions are going to change. Everything is going to, there's market seasonality, all this stuff. And it takes a really long time in order to be able to identify these conditions and then adapt to these conditions, which is also your job, which takes a long time, which is why you have to go through it to get through it, right? And so that is also why it's so important for you to never give up in a way. A lot of people trade for a year and then give up. And I'm like, well, what did you expect, man? Like, even if you put in the hardest work you've ever put in for a whole year, there's still a very low chance that you're going to be actually profitable within that year, right? It's slim to none. And then people will say, well, that's a long time of hard work earning no money. Yeah, it is. But do you want to go and become a doctor? You can do that and get pay $100,000 or whatever it costs to go to school for 7 years and then eventually start earning money, right? So trading for 3 years to become profitable and make a lot of money is still a lot faster than the majority of the careers that you would be studying for anyway, right? So it's like, which one would you rather? Would you rather go spend 8 years and hundreds of thousands worth of dollars to study something? Or would you rather dedicate 3 or 4 years of really hard work to this craft and eventually be profitable and earn money? The choice is yours, right? One is safer, which is obviously going to uni, college, whatever. One is a little bit less safe, which is trading, but there's a lot higher reward here as well, right? So it's like, you can't expect all this to happen in a year or 2 years, right? And then the reason why I'm saying this is because you thinking that it has to happen that fast also has an effect on the way you trade, right? Because if people actually knew coming into this, literally knew that you're not going to make $1 for at least 3 years, if people knew that, maybe that was the terms and conditions for entering this business at all, a lot more people would be successful because they would understand, okay, the first 3 years, I'm simply going to, do low risk. I'm going to take it slow. Doesn't matter whether my account grows or not, because I'm not going to make money until 3 years down the line either way. So I might as well try to follow my rules. I might as well try to do all these things because I'm not going to make money anyway, right? So if people came in with the mindset of, this is going to take a long time, I'm prepared to be here for a long time, the money aspect of things become less important, right? Because all your problems is essentially attached to money. You have all these problems because you want money. So you have to sort of detach your mind from money, which is really, really hard, because whether you admit it or not, all of us come into this industry because we want to make money, but you still have to disconnect your brain from wanting to make money, if that makes sense. That's really hard. That's why this business is so hard and the failure rate is so large, because you have to be able to make your brain focus on things that it's not supposed to focus on, or do certain things that it doesn't want to do, right? You essentially have to do the opposite of what the human brain wants, which is why this business is so hard and why it takes so long. But if you can detach your mind from making money and sort of find gratitude and fulfillment in following rules, it will become much easier, okay? Because if you have a red day and you're trading while you're attached to money, that red day is going to affect you, and it's going to affect the way you trade, whether you like it or not. But if you are focused on building good habits and following rules, red days will not matter to you, right? Because I don't determine my red and green days as in, is my P&L red or is my P&L green? I determine my red and green days in, did I follow my rules? Did I build good habits, right? If I build good habits and I follow my rules, that's a green day, and the P&L does not matter, right? If I have a green day, but I didn't follow my rules and I was trading like shit, that's a red day, okay? So it doesn't matter what my P&L looks like at the end of the day. What matters is if I focused on what I'm supposed to focus on. Did I predetermine my risk? Did I accept that risk that I put on? Did I follow my rules? Did I stay patient? Did I have a pre-market game plan? Did I show up on the chart 30 minutes prior to market open and sort of create my pre-market game plan? Did I journal my trades? Did I learn from my trade? If I did all these things, then the outcome of the trade does not matter to me, right? And that's the stage that you want to get to. Essentially, you have to get rid of the thought of making money, because the only thing that is going to do is take you further away from making money, right? It's kind of funny. The more you think about making money, the less money you are going to make. That's it, really. That's why it can be so difficult to trade full time, because when you have no other income than trading, all your mind thinks about when you're trading is, how am I going to pay the bills? I have to get this payout, this and that, and then you are immediately attached to the money, and then all those problems come flooding in again. Does that mean that you can't go full-time trading? No, that does not mean you can't go full-time trading. What it means is, if trading is what you're relying on to pay your bills, it's going to be very hard. But if you had a year or 2 years or 8 months worth of expenses saved up, then you can start to dabble into full-time trading. A lot of people have done it in the past. It's certainly doable, but it makes everything way, way harder, which is why people also need to understand that having a 9-to-5 job is completely fine. A lot of people have brainwashed people into thinking that having a 9-to-5 is bad and everyone should avoid it at all costs. But in fact, I think it's a really, really good thing. I think everyone should have had a job in their life. It teaches you social skills. It teaches you a lot of different things. Having a 9-to-5, we have very, very important people, doctors, lawyers, policemen, military people. All these people are necessary. You and me as traders are providing zero value. So in reality, we are the losers. They are not. There's nothing wrong with working a normal job. And I think that working a normal job next to trading is what you want to do until you've saved up a lot of capital, so that you can essentially have red months for a year straight and still be able to pay your bills. That's what I want to try and get at. Getting kind of off track here, but again, do not worry about technicals. Do not worry about whether this is going to work out or not. Do not worry about anything. Just worry about improving. If you're improving, that's all that matters. If you worry about whether this is going to work or not, it's not going to work, because you're going to be overthinking this way too much, and it's going to affect the way that you trade. It's going to affect the way that your future plays out. I worried a lot. I've worried a lot in the past, and it's done me no good. Don't worry. It'll all be good. And remember, you literally cannot lose until you give up. The most important part about this video is understanding that you will never give up. And if you never give up, you will figure out a way to do it. If you never give up, you'll figure out a way to do it. I promise, okay? I promise. If you just give this enough time, don't give up, follow good habits, follow rules, you will find a way. So thank you a lot for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this raw video. You have to let me know if I have to keep doing these. I've done one, and I actually like recording them. They're very easy to record, and I get to talk about certain things that I normally wouldn't. So yeah, again, also, if you haven't read this book yet, I would highly recommend that you read it. It's a very famous book. Obviously, it's basically the Bible of trading psychology, but it's really good, and it's helped me a lot. It still does. In my rep periods, I'll open up this book and I'll read it, so that I know what this game really is and how the mind works, and it will help me calm down. So definitely give this a read if you haven't already. And yeah, that was basically this video. Thank you a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.